Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. Hello my gorgeous beans and welcome back to the channel. Last video we started neither a Beetlejuice inspired fall town core island with a twist. In the last video we focused on the land of the living, a cozy fall town full of nature, happy neighbors and some mysteries. We completed that half of the island, so in today's video we will be swifting our attention to the secret side of this island, the underworld, or as the wiki for Beetlejuice mentions, the netherworld. As with the movie, the only way to access this side is by going into the attic of the house on the hill that will transport you to a world much darker and goofier. At least it will be. So let's get started. I started out by opening my shed and grabbing a bunch of these castle walls to align the cliffs. Now this is the current state of the map and oh my god, it is not something to be amazed by. I think this is the first time the map is completely neglected, but it's also quite necessary for the island to be the way it needs to be with the separation of the two vibes. So anyway, from here, I started planning out how I wanted to create the hallway that Adam and Barbara first step into after they draw the door, and boy did I struggle with this. I started with a simple base, hit the Mario pipe behind a wall, and then made the whole thing bigger before getting super stuck with this concept. So I instead moved the museum to this area, skipped a day, and pathed around it so it can act as our underworld version of resident services. After I took down the hallway, I knew I needed more items, so on my way to the airport, Bluebear decided she was so over living here, and although she's a cutie, I let her go. I grabbed what I needed from a couple spicy island trips, flew back, and quickly decorated the attic of the house since that's the only way to get to the other side. From there, I rebuilt the hallway in a different spot, and it's finally getting somewhere by using these display cases as fake walls to outline two hallways and one big room that will be the reception room from the movie. Nice. I left an opening to exit, ordered even more, crafted a vaulting pole, and skipped the day so we could try to find a more fall-esque villager to replace Bluebear. After we came across a couple cuties and some total abominations, we found Ozzy. After some deliberation, I decided he kind of reminded me of your typical howdy neighbor, so I invited him to the island. I grabbed my packages, made the room bigger, and started decorating the room with some seating, a reception desk, and other miscellaneous items until it looked like this. Then I cried about the fact that we can't stack custom designs as I wasn't 100% happy with it yet, but I took my sorrows to turn this spot into a little oopsie spot where the handbook can really shine. And if you were wondering, the campsite villager was Bubbles. Yuck. And best girly pup Celeste was here saying hi before I ended for the day. I'm glad I was finally able to make progress on this side of the island because I had such a giant idea block. Like, there were days where I just ran around on the island trying to find a spot to start and then just never did. So I was stoked about having a start ignited. But we've only just started, so let's get back to it. I added a couple things to the reception area like this yoga mat since you can't place rocks outside, another silly quirky thing in this game. And I love it a lot more. I used a dark green grass custom design outside the building to help blend it in a little bit and started decorating around the museum with street lamps, fencing, and some other miscellaneous items to bring it all together. I might change this up a little bit later on, but for now I moved on to pathing the road. I experimented by adding a pond using this green water and then this purple water and a straight path leading back to the rooms. I decided I hated it, so the next day I removed all of it and replaced the brick pathing with a more grungy and windy path, which I like much better. From there I planted a couple trees and pathed out what would be similar to the park in the other area, just like so, before moving on to pathing a little street and once again asking Tom to move a house and placing it. Naturally, I skipped a day, finished pathing around the house, and repeated this process with Muffy's and Judy's home so I could finish the road. Slowly, structure is starting to form in this area, so yay. And at this point, the inspiration left my noggin again, so I left the island alone again for a couple days as retaliation. But I came back and started surrounding this area with grey walls until I ran out, skedaddled my little legs to the airport to fly to a no-no island where I got jump scared by a human head in a claw machine. These prices are just getting crazier. I then skipped the daytime and placed the rest of the walls until the entire area was surrounded. Woo! Then I added some simple wooden fencing around the houses before ending for the day, or so I thought since I decorated the park well in handheld as we watched the movie. Oops. Next up was the left side of the area where I started out with this purple water and the purple pond to kind of act like a hot spring of death, and pathed the border around it, followed by some goth dirt. Nice. I knew I wanted to use that green toxic water somewhere, so I used it to create this long fake river. Decided I didn't like it like that and raised it up a level before adding an incline leading up to the cliffs, just like so. I did a little terraforming to shape the cliffs like this, skipped a day so I could place another incline before planting a bunch of trees around the area, and skipped a day back to October for a slightly greener grass. Ooh. I took a break and went right back to it by planting more trees, decorating the houses, and adding cute duckies to the pond before creating another accident. Oopsie. From there I pathed on the left, added some mushy lights and other items before continuing the next day. A new day means a new campsite villager, and this time it was Jeremiah. I did consider grinding to get him on the island for a while, but then I gave up and added some finishing touches to the back rooms instead. Nice. Then on the right I started pathing out this big block of planks and turned it into a mini carnival because we're all clowns here, am I right? I added some fencing, planted some trees, and pathed dirt around the entire area until it started raining, so I did what any logical Animal Crossing player would do. Anyway, the next day I used prison bars to create a little separation and pathed all over the area before decorating with trees, vines, a cute seance, more trees, and other miscellaneous items like these barrels. I used this gooey custom design as a filler on the open grass and covered most of it with items to hide the harsh borderlines slightly, and repeated this process all over until it looked like this. I skipped a day to let the trees grow in and decided it was time for an outfit change before stunting a couple trees and skipping another day. This main area is now mostly done, and I know what you're gonna say. Where's the Beetlejuice? Listen, this area is heavily inspired by the dark yet colorful vibe of the movies when the characters are in the underworld, like these scenes. The problem is that most of the movie's underworld scenes are either inside a building or in a giant sandpit. So I took the vibe the movie gave me and imagined what their outside would look like, with a couple of direct references mixed in here and there, but overall the goal was for a complete 180 compared to the town. And I think we definitely achieved that so far. But there's still plenty to do, so let's get back to it. Starting by pathing out the cliffs on the right and moving the gap from here to change it to a silly grave before finishing the road and adding another dark grass patch. Later that day, I checked the campsite and it ended up being Rosie. I love Rosie, so I decided to have her replace Judy for now, and after denying her Aussie and Cobb, she finally chose Judy and told her she could move in. After that, I skipped a couple days to stunt some more trees and planted this sign as a reference to this Beetlejuice sign in the movie and ended there for the day. It's the next day and Poppy decided he was done with being haunted by ghosts, so I let him go. From there, I added another oopsie scene and decorated the rest of the area with bats, headstones, and gargoyles, among other items like barrels, trees, and green gooey filler. Yum. I added some floor lights and decorated this filler pit like this before adding more vines and barrels to the other area to finish it off. For now. At this point, we are getting so close to completing this side of the island, and I promised to myself the next time I booted up the game I would not put it back down until this island was done. Did this actually happen? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. Anyway, I added some more details to this area, and then it was truly time to tackle this whole line of land. Starting with, you guessed it, pathing. A metric ton of pathing. Anyway, after adding the green goo in the filler spots, I started decorating with vines, mushy lamps, floor lights, and used these prison bars to block visitors from getting too close to the wall to break the illusion. I had to go get some more items, and this flyover on the way back is just chef's kiss. From there, I placed more trees, headstones, even more trees, and made a quick trip to Harvest Island to customize these mushrooms and these cubes since they look super cool on top of the purple splotches. A couple more gyroids felt deserving of living here along with this skeleton dude. Nice. I placed down the mushrooms and a couple more items before decorating the living room of the house and ordering more cubes so I could customize those as well for the rest of the purple splotches. Then I placed a couple street lamps here, a skeleton there, and skipped the day so I could pick up a Weber from a Nono Island before Poppy's lot autofilled. At this point we were basically done, but not before Naomi came by to bully me one more time after last year's Halloween Island. And well, there we have it. The only things I did after my self-proclaimed not putting the game down until it was finished kind of thing was changing up the front of the museum a little, changing this car to a broken down one, and moving out Moraine to a place here with Bo, Flurry with Anchovy, and Rosie with Lucky. And for some reason all three of them had already been wanting to move out because of the what? Anyways, with that, this island is finally completed. It has been a journey to get to this point with many design blocks and other projects that came up after the last video, which is also the reason behind the delays for this one. And I do apologize for that. Even though it was a struggle for so much of this island, I do love the outcome and I am proud I was able to finish it. It is so fun to just kind of go crazy with this half of the island, and I enjoyed being able to work on a theme I normally avoid for the first half of the island. I truly hope you all enjoyed following me along with the creation of this island regardless of that, and that the next one will be timely. Fingers crossed. This is the dream address of the island, and remember, if you want to check out the underworld, try to find the hidden Mario pipe in the attic of my house. Feel free to like this video if you enjoyed it, and to subscribe to get more Animal Crossing content in a notification box near you soon. Thank you all so much for watching and for the support shown on the previous videos. I appreciate you all, and hopefully I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye!